This is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
Hi, everyone. The regular season has come to an end, and we're here to recap Week 18. Maria Taylor alongside Mike Florio, Tony Dungy, and Jason Garrett. And we have to start this journey in Orchard Park because no one could describe what the last 6 days have probably felt like for Bills players as they really were playing for Damar Hamlin. And his recovery has been incredible. Thoughts and prayers were with him. And then the Bills went out and put icing and also an exclamation point on the statement by getting a victory, and it started with the first play of the game.
Yeah, it was just amazing. The kickoff return to start the game, and then it was close. And it looked like the Patriots may do what would have been unthinkable to go into Buffalo and win on a day like today, but the Bills just kept pushing and pushing, and the dam broke with that second kickoff return. That's what really turned it, but the Bills did exactly what we thought they would do, and we have a feeling they're going to keep doing it indefinitely.
I think they'll actually be better as they go on. I have a good friend on their staff, Leslie Frazier. He and I coached together. I was talking to him all week, and he said, you cannot believe how emotional this week was. Tuesday, Wednesday, he said, our players were they were not there. Their minds were at the hospital in Cincinnati. And then Thursday, they talked to Damar's dad and felt a little bit better, but it still wasn't there. It wasn't until Friday when Damar spoke to them via Zoom that they were back to normal. So they had one good day of practice. He said, I hope we're ready. I know we're going to be emotional, but I don't know how we're going to play.
Coach, we all know that football is an incredibly emotional game when you don't have anything else going on off the field. You got to get your emotions right to play at the optimum level. So you're trying to do that every week over the course of a 17-game season. Then you add this level to it, and you said it. The emotions all week long, and then the emotions within the game. Think about the emotions after the opening kickoff. Hee, ha, ha. You know, Sean McDermott, you know, he's laughing on the sidelines. Everybody's so emotional about that, but then the Patriots don't go away. So how do you handle those emotions after you've had such an emotional week? I do think they have a purpose to what they're doing. I think they've been one of the best teams in the league all year long. I think this can become a catalyst for them going forward. It's such an inspirational story. They love, you know, Hamlin so much, and I think they were inspired to play for him, and I think that's going to carry through the playoffs.
And one thing that fascinates me, Maria, from a football standpoint, we saw what Nyheim Hines did in the kick return game. I wonder if they're going to get creative and come up with ways to get the ball in his hands in the offense and let him do some more of what we saw today.
He was such a good third down back in Indianapolis. He could add an extra dimension there. I agree with you.
One of my favorite things was Peter King came on the show, and he mentioned that Damar Hamlin even told him, listen, we got a slogan for you. It's Free Hines. You're going to take one back and score a touchdown. And then he goes out and does it. So the Patriots end up with a loss, and then it does open the well for the Dolphins to sneak on into the playoffs, and they ultimately do. And it wasn't easy. They did it with Skylar Thompson, their third-string quarterback, but the Dolphins are in for the first time since 2016.
It wasn't easy, and it wasn't pretty either. I mean, it was a tough game to watch, and we were actually asking, what happens if this game ties? Like, who makes it to the playoffs if someone doesn't win this game? Because it felt like neither team wanted to until the very end when the Dolphins pulled it off. And they've had two good games this year against the Bills. With Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback, I think that's going to be the key. They need to have Tua back. It all depends upon whether he's cleared. With him, they have a chance to go into Buffalo and win because we saw them go up there on a Saturday night not that long ago and almost pull it off.
I think they can win with Tua. I think they can win with Teddy Bridgewater, but it's going to be a struggle if they have Skylar Thompson. They're going to have to run the football. Buffalo has been a little vulnerable to the run.
Coach, you've said it all year long. It's been a quarterback-centric team.
Yep.
And when Tua has played and played well, they've been awfully good. They've been dynamic on offense. When he hasn't played well and hasn't played in games, they haven't been nearly as good. Running the football, somehow getting the RPO game going will be crucial for them. I do think Teddy gives them a chance. I think they got a legit shot with Tua. I think it's going to be hard if Skylar Thompson's their quarterback.
Yeah, Tua 8-5 as a starter, but they were on a 5-game losing streak. That one win brought them back into the playoffs. But we're also talking about the Bengals and the Ravens in the AFC. So this is a game that we all watched. It got a little chippy towards the end. It wasn't easy for the Bengals to pull out the win, maybe as easy as we thought it was with the way that the game started, Coach. But now there's a rematch. I mean, we're turning right back around. We're going to see the same game again.
And I almost now like what John Harbaugh did. He went in, and you could tell they weren't playing to win this game. I mean, they would have taken it, but they rested a lot of guys. We'll be ready next week. Maybe we get Tyler Huntley back. But, hey, we hung in there with our third quarterback, and they've got a little psychological edge now, I think.
Well, the good news is The only coin toss we saw was the Joe Mixon touchdown celebration. Yeah. Thank goodness we didn't have to determine home field advantage for the wild card round based on a coin toss. And the Bengals look like they're ready to go. But you're right. The Ravens played them close enough with their third-string quarterback. If they could get Tyler Huntley or Lamar Jackson, which I doubt that they'll have him, but if they could get him back, they're going to have a much different vibe going into the rematch.
A couple of weeks ago, we had the Ravens and the Steelers on the Sunday night game. We said it was going to be a bloodbath. I think it's going to be the same thing. I mean, when the Ravens play in the division, it feels like a bloodbath. A lot of psychology going into this last game, getting ready for the next game. These teams know each other really well. But again, it goes back to the quarterback situation. Hard for me to think that Lamar Jackson is going to be ready to play. Hopefully Huntley's ready to play, and that gives them a legitimate chance against Cincinnati.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson has not been able to practice since December 4th, so we'll see if he'll be able to make it to that rematch. But let's check in with Steve Kornacki, because if you were watching the 1 p.m. games in the AFC, you probably were just scratching your head like, what's going to happen? Break it all down for us, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line, obviously the Dolphins get in, but boy, did they make things interesting. Not just the last 5 weeks of the season before today when they went from a 90% playoff shot to less than 50%, but these playoff probabilities for the Dolphins, for the Pats, and for the Steelers, they were bouncing all over the place as those 1 o'clock games played out. There was one point there early in the third quarter of the Patriots-Bills game. Remember, Pats just needed the win to get in. They got up to basically a 50% shot when they took the lead 17-14. On the immediate next play, the Bills ran back the kickoff for the touchdown for the second time in the game, and the Patriots' chances plummeted to 26% right there, and they went south from that point forward. That was it for New England. There was actually a point, too, where the Steelers had the highest probability of any of these three teams. It was during the fourth quarter of that game. The Steelers were starting to pull away. The Pats were behind. The Jets had the ball. They were near midfield against the Dolphins, but then the Jets were forced to punt. The Dolphins got it back. That was the high water mark for the Steelers. And for the Dolphins, it came down to that horse collar call. The Dolphins had to play inside 2 minutes left. That horse collar put the Dolphins in Jet territory. A few plays later, they're lining up for that field goal. They were at an 80% probability as the ball was snapped for the field goal. It goes through the uprights, and the Dolphins are in the playoffs.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, it was crazy to see, the Steelers fans, they win the game, and then they're starting to cheer for the Jets, and they're like, Jets. You don't know what's going on, but everyone was kind of relying on some other outcome to see how they would end in the playoffs, or if they would end in the playoffs. But let's talk about the matchups that we do know, and give me your top storyline for each one of them, and we'll start with you, Mike. The Chargers and the Jaguars, the 4-5 matchup.
Well, who wants to be the number 3 quarterback in the NFL behind Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes? Because Trevor Lawrence has a chance to move into that territory. Justin Herbert is kind of already there. This is going to be a great young quarterback matchup to see which guy's ready to ascend.
It is, but you know what I think the deciding big factor is going to be? Mike Williams' health. He got hurt, got carted off. He has been the deep threat for them. Their offense is so much more dynamic when he's out there. He really helps Justin Herbert. They need him.
What a disastrous day for the Chargers, right? You play everybody, you lose the game, and you lose Mike Williams, getting ready for the playoff game in Jacksonville next week. What a job that Doug Peterson did down there in Jacksonville to keep that team together. There's no doubt that Trevor Lawrence is emerging as one of those elite quarterbacks in this league. There's a lot of energy and a lot of juice down there in Duval County. Hard to bet against those guys.
Incredible turnaround they had this season. What about the 3-6 matchup in the NFC, the Vikings and the Giants?
Well, I mean, the Giants are either going to win by 40 or the Vikings are going to win by 2, right? That's kind of how it goes for Minnesota. Yeah, it's either going to be a really close game, the Vikings find a way to win, or the Giants are just going to blow them off the field. They had a great game on Christmas Eve, and I think the Giants are very happy to get another shot at the Vikings because they believe they could have beaten them last time.
And to me, the storyline of that game, Kayvon Thibodeau and that Giants pass rush. Can they heat it up? They've got to pressure Kirk Cousins. If they do, they've got a shot. If they don't, I think the Vikings passing game eats them up.
Coach, I've really enjoyed listening to Florio talk about the Vikings all year long. I mean, you can just see the scars that he's had
so nervous
through the years. Don't be nervous.
I accept my fate. It's just a matter of when and how.
I think the playoffs are all about being who you are. So if the Giants can go to Minnesota and be who they are, a running football team with Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones making some plays on the move, a pressure style of defense to disrupt Kirk Cousins, that offense, they have a fighting chance against a really good football team.
How about the 4-5 matchup? It's going to be a good one. Cowboys and the Buccaneers.
It's Tom Brady for his 48th career playoff game. How do you compete with that kind of experience? And I've noticed late in games this year, he transforms into the guy that we're kind of used to from past years, and he has a laser focus. They go into no huddle, and he's just a different guy. And he's going to do that at some point when they play this game, and it's going to be hard for the Cowboys to beat him.
Well, for me, and Jason will be able to comment on this too, it's the Dallas psyche. All this week, all they're going to hear is how terrible they played in Philadelphia, how bad they've been in the playoffs, how they're going against Tom Brady. Which Dallas team are we going to see?
Yeah, there's a lot of noise down in Dallas, and when you have success, it's hee ha ha. But when it's challenging and you have a loss like they did against Washington, there's a lot of stuff that can distract you. They just got to lock in, stay focused, and go down and win a ball game. I think Dallas is a better team than Tampa. Over the course of the year, they've been a better team, but when they get on grass, on the road, I just feel like that defense slows down a little bit. They're not quite as disruptive as they are when they're home on that fast track. And that will work, obviously, to Tom Brady's advantage. Dallas has to play the game they need to play. They need to get both runners going. They need to take some pressure off of Dak Prescott. That's their chance to win this game.
What about the NFC favorite? Who are you going with, Eagles, 49ers, or the field?
49ers for me. As long as they keep their key players healthy, I think they're going to be very hard to beat by anyone through the Super Bowl.
49ers are playing great. Brock Purdy has been sensational in the regular season, but this is now the playoffs. And Jalen Hurts last year was playing good football, got to the playoff game, didn't play well. So I think this second time around for Hurts, I'm saying Philadelphia.
I feel like the Eagles have been the best team in the NFC all year long because they're the most balanced football team. I think San Francisco's the second best team in the NFC because they're also a balanced football team. But I do think the rookie quarterback, that's a lot to ask. They're going to play that NFC Championship game in Philly. So for him to go on the road, we're assuming a lot of things right now, but that's a tall order.
All right. Well, the good news is that we're going to be here regardless. Look forward for a Super Wild Card weekend. Are you going to be here, Florio?
I don't know.
Oh, you got to come
Oh, we got to come
Mike.
on.
Let's
It's
see.
all
We got
season.
divisional round weekend after that, though. If it's one or the
okay.
other, I
You
got to
can't
wait.
do
We've
both.
got to be with you,
All right.
Vikings.
All right. Oh, you don't know. I don't know
Giants,
that.
come on.
I don't know that.
Are you going to wear that Letterman's jacket, that Viking
that you got for Christmas? All right, we'll keep trying to work on getting Florio here for Wild Card weekend, but you make sure you show up. Football Night in America starts at 7 Eastern.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.